Hey guys. I cannot. So, Bible study, here we are. We're still in Genesis. And so if you're here with us, go to Genesis, turn to chapter 5. Our very own sister Nikki is going to pray us in.
Hi guys, bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we are gathered here to say thank you for the many blessings you have bestowed upon us this day. Thank you for allowing us to see another day, to have your presence, dear Lord, keeping us from things seen and unseen. Thank you for covering us with the blood of the Lamb and keeping us covered with your holy name and protecting those and everyone around the world and making sure that we get to know you, dear God. And I just want to say thank you, God, for bringing us here today, for making sure that we know you in your word. In Jesus' name we all pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. So, for those of you guys who don't know, I'm Minister Tiffany. This is
Shantae.
Minister Shantae. And welcome, because we know that we have a lot of people on there that do not go to our church. So we just want to welcome you, and we want to thank everybody that has invited. She's just trying to show off her dimples. We just want to thank everybody that invited somebody else, for inviting a friend. So we thank you. We just want to remind everybody that we go to Mount Vernon Heights Congregational Church, which is located MVHCC, which is located at 258 South Columbus Avenue in Mount Vernon. And if you need pickups,
I'll pick you up.
She does the pickups in the morning. So just let us know. So we have a lot of stuff in store. You can inbox either one of us. We're admins in the group, and you can also inbox Diane Jackson, who is also the group secretary.
Oh shoot, we still got
Deanna.
Deanna?
Deanna. Oh, Deanna.
Not scratch that. Deanna, not Diana.
She still collecting funds?
Neither one is her name, so her real name. But yeah, so you can inbox her and let her know that you want to be a part.
So last week we were in Genesis 4. So again, for those that are new to the Facebook Live and the group chat, the concept is for everyone to read the Bible together, for us, or everyone to go back to the beginning, because everyone's at different levels. Some people read the Bible in full, some people haven't read the Bible in full, some people never read the Bible. So it's a good process for everyone to kind of learn together, grow together, read together, and just be one in a sense, especially on here. So if you have any questions as we are going forward, we're going to stop and kind of dissect every single verse or every single point as God leads, to reiterate or to go over. But that's just that.
Hi, Jolly. Go ahead, sorry.
Jolly!
Go ahead.
I know this is a pause. It's fine. So,
God's property.
That's just the process of, us basically coming together and reading the Bible together as, young adults.
Yeah. Amen.
All right. So now we're in Genesis 5. We were in 4, very intricate, as you know, recap of the Bible. So Cain has slayed Abel in chapter 4.
Right.
And he was cast out. Go ahead.
I really wasn't going to do a recap. I wasn't going to do a recap because that's what the videos are for.
Oh, right.
But since Shantae started it, Cain slayed Abel because Cain was jealous of Abel because Abel gave a better sacrifice. And the Bible didn't say that Abel was perfect. Mm-hmm. It didn't say that he did everything right. It just said that he gave God the best that he had.
Wow. He didn't slay him because he gave a better sacrifice. He slayed him out of jealousy because he was jealous of God giving Abel more favor than Cain. So we're both given unto God, but God is only recognizing one person. So when God doesn't recognize what you do, or if you're not elevated when you think you should be, that's, you get envious, jealous. There comes rage, there comes anger. So he slew his brother.
Right. But what was most important about that chapter is because God didn't recognize or accept Cain's gift because he did it with a hidden agenda. And how often people do things with hidden agenda. Oh yeah, girl, I would be your agenda because I just want to make sure your curls ain't popping no more. So it's like, do you really want to thank me for doing your hair if I did it to do something mean? So
Right.
that's basically what happened. Take it away, Shantae.
Okay. So we're reading King James Version, and then we also have the study Bible. So that's how we're going to do it. So Genesis chapter 5, first verse. This is the book of the generations of Adam. In the day that God created man, in the likeness of God, made he him. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam, in the day when they were created. And Adam lived 130 years, and begot a son in his own likeness, after his image, and called him Seth.
Stop. I think that's so interesting.
Yeah.
I think that's so interesting that they don't mention
Cain
and Abel after Adam's own likeness. They
so it's like a
they
restart.
said Seth was, because as we did in the previous chapter, Seth was like their restart.
Right,
the
third child.
Seth had Enoch, and it wasn't until Seth had Enoch that generations on the earth started praising God again.
Right, started going back to
So
him.
that's why that part was so important.
Well, also what I found was important is in terms of just between the first and the second verse. So in the first verse, it says, this is the book of generations of Adam, and the day when God created man. And then from the first verse to the second verse, he goes to male and female, and their name, and called their name Adam.
Their name,
plural, but Adam is one.
And that's what, I like that too, that it breaks it down like that, because you always get atheists that'll say, who was Cain afraid that was going to kill him? And those are their idiotic questions, and those questions come out of ignorance from not reading. Go ahead.
Okay. So basically we have Adam, one, their name, male and female, okay? And Adam lived 130 years. So now we're on verse 4. And the days of Adam after he had begotten Seth were 800 years, and he begot sons and daughters. And all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. And Seth lived 105 years and begot Enos. And Seth lived after he begot Enos 807 years, and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. And Enos lived 90 years and begot Canaan. I don't know the word, but we're going to say Canaan. No, because it's not Canaan, it's Canaan. Well,
that's it, Canaan.
And Enos lived after he begot Canaan 815 years, and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Enos were 905 years, and he died. And Canaan lived 70 years, and begot Mahalalel. I don't know the word.
Mishael.
He begot Mishael. Okay? And Canaan lived.
And I just want to say, I'm nowhere near perfect with these names. How I get the names so good is I listen to the Auto Bible. And I was listening to the Auto Bible. I read it through, and then I listened to the Auto Bible for names. So that's how I know it. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. And was it
And Canaan lived Mishael.
And Canaan lived after he begot Mishael 840 years, and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Canaan were 910 years, and he died. And Mishael lived 65 years, and begot Jared. And Mishael lived after he begot Jared 830 years, and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Mishael were 895 years, and he died. And Jared lived 162 years, and begot Enoch. And Jared lived after he begot Enoch 800 years, and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Jared were 962 years, and he died. And Enoch lived 65 years, and begot Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God
right.
And Enoch walked with God after he begot
Methuselah
300 years and begot sons and daughters.
What I found interesting is, and you know, she's my partner in crime. She kind of knew I was gonna stop right there because all of that descendants and this one begot that one and that one begot that one and 800 years passed and then 800 plus 900 passed and then 900 plus another 800 passed and you know it kept going and going almost about 1,000 years, 2,000 years passed, and it took 2,000 years before the Bible says someone walked with God again after Adam walked out of the presence of God.
Well, that's the thing I was gonna.
Adam and Eve.
That was the point. I was like, oh, that was a good point because as you're going down, because at first like it gets repetitive, but then you go down. But two things really that was stood out to me. So if you watched a couple of the other lives where we went through Genesis 1 and 2, it says obviously that Adam walked with God. Adam and Eve were one; they walked with God, and there was no distinction of how old they were, if they were other people. But now, in terms of creating the lineage, creating basically a historical context for the readers to show people's not only age, lineage, but then also defining who people are. Like, this is the beginning where he's defining people. Like, these people are standing out. They're not just, this is Adam, this is Eve, and, this is their lineage. He's giving them pretext and history and where they came from. He's basically describing the whole generation of people that are being back unto him.
And another argument, two things I want to say is, one, we're going to see why he's like so distinctively saying this and why the ages matter. Because sometimes when we get to that, this one begot that one and that one begot that one, we're like, oh my God, this is just too much. It don't make no sense. Why do we have to read all that? But it's going to make sense in a minute. And when we get that aha moment, I'm going to be like, bam, 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 bam. But anyway, so that's one thing. And then the other thing is that she said that it's starting to talk and it's starting to say so they're calling out people by name, right? So some people they're calling out by name, but then they're saying that they had sons and daughters, but they're not naming each and every person. So another argument atheists, woke people have is that it was only Adam, and how was it this and how was it that? And just because you're writing a book, you're going to tell it from your point of view. You're going to tell it from whatever story that you're telling at the time. My story, Tiffany's story is Tiffany's story. Shantae's story is Shantae's story. But just because we're looking at my story right now don't mean that Shantae's story didn't exist. It's basically what I was saying. It's basically what I'm saying. But go ahead.
All right, so now we're at chapter 24 where we said, and Enoch walked with God.
No, chapter 5, verse 24.
Chapter 5, verse 24, sorry. Okay, so, and Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. And Methuselah lived 187 years and begot Lamech.
What I want to just find so funny is because you hear like people, saved people, and they talk about Enoch, and they're like, yeah, God took Enoch up in a whirlwind because he was so holy. Where does it say that? It just says that he took him. It don't say how he took him. It don't say if he disappeared. It don't say what happened. But people always make up like these, these extra things that are just not there. Like why do we have to say he took him up in a whirlwind? Oh, you're going to be so holy and go up in the whirlwind like Enoch.
Because it doesn't say when Enoch started to walk with God, when he, it doesn't say when he took him, because it says he was here and then he was not. It's kind of like, it's honestly.
Well, it does say when he walked with God. He didn't start walking with God until he was 65.
No, it says, and Enoch.
And Enoch lived 65 years and begot Methuselah, and Enoch walked with God after begotten Methuselah. So right after he had a son, he began to walk with God. So we know that he was 65 years old when he started to walk with God. And it's so crazy because what was the change? Like, what was the change in his life at 65?
When he started walking with God.
When he started to walk with
65
God.
now is probably like 300 something years. Probably like that time. But 65 at that time probably could have been 18, 19 or 20, 21.
Right.
In terms of that. But then I was thinking about when it says, and he walked with God and then he was not. And then God took him. So it's like, it gives you a wrap up of life, because you're here 1 minute, like Pastor always said, in a twinkle of an eye, and then you're not.
Right.
And then you're with God.
Right.
So it just gives you like life right there in that one paragraph. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
26. I think I was right. And Methuselah lived after he begot Lamech 782 years and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Methuselah... Did I read this already? No. Okay. And all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. And Lamech lived 182 years and begot a son. And he called his name Noah, saying, "This same shall comfort us concerning our work and toil of our hands, because of the ground which the Lord hath cursed." I want to read that again.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to read from 28. And Lamech lived 182 years and begot a son. And he called his name Noah, saying, "This same shall comfort us concerning our work and toil of our hands, because of the ground which the Lord hath cursed." And Lamech lived after he begot Noah 595 years and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Lamech were 777 years. Oh, you can't see me. And he died. And Noah was 500 years old. And Noah begot Shem, Ham, and Japheth. I think that's how you say it. Okay. The interesting part of this whole chapter, two parts in terms of Enoch, but then also
When it comes to Noah.
the distinction that they made when they described Noah.
And this is why. Study Bible time. So the reason why that distinction stuck out to you so much is because it says that was the oracle of the birth of Lamech's son Noah, which was a word play because Noah's name means rest. There is somewhat a similar meaning to the word comfort. So Noah's name means comfort and rest,
Right.
which is like really, really, really good. And can we just go a little bit into we're not going to go all the way into chapter 6. We're just going to go a little bit into chapter 6.
Wow. We had a comment from Nikia who said what? She said,
Explain it in the Bible. I'm lost.
she said explain it because she's a little lost. Okay. So I think you should do
break
read a
down
little
the
bit from
Bible.
the study Bible in terms of
It reads
summing
the
up
same way though. Okay,
maybe
so
summing up the chapter.
okay, so basically
Make it short.
So basically, it's just talking about, it talks about 1 through, we're in chapter 5. 1 through 8 is basically, 1 through 5 is the direct descendants of Adam. Right? Then 6 through 8 is the direct descendants of Adam's son, Seth. Then 9 through 11 is the direct descendants of Seth's son, Enos. Then 12 through 14 is the direct descendants of Enos' son, Canaan. And then 15 through 17 are the direct descendants of Mishael. And then 18 through 20 is the direct descendants of Jared, right? 21 through 24 are the direct descendants of Enoch. Right. And that's so important because Enoch was important because he was the first one after almost, 9, that's what? 18. 8 is 16. That's 2080. It's 2,000 plus years. Almost like 2,500 years before anybody walked with God again. Right. That's why Enoch is so important.
Right.
And then from Enoch, right, came Methuselah, right? And then after Methuselah came Lamech. And Lamech is the father of Noah, whose name means rest. Whose name means comfort. So that is why that is like so important.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to get a little bit into chapter 6, but we're not even gonna do that to you guys tonight. But the reason why I hope you guys read chapter 6 on your own, and the reason why it's so important is because it tells you why people stop living to 900, 800. Like, we look at that, we like, nah, the person that wrote that had to be mistaken. There's no way somebody could live to 800 years old.
Right.
But it's so crazy because it specifically tells you why the days of man were numbered, why they were shortened. And it gives you the number that it's supposed to be shortened to. So it goes back to like the cliches. People be like, oh, you're only supposed to live 65 years. Anything after that is a blessing. It don't say that. That's not the age.
That's why you have people that live to 100 plus.
That's
years.
not the age that it gives us here. So, and then people look at it so weird when people live to like 105, 106, but that's not weird because we have an age that we're supposed to live to if we live healthy and whatever
according to God,
right? And escape like man-made cancer and all that other kind of craziness. And that's the point
of life and life more abundantly,
right? So, I really hope that you guys get something out of this as we are traveling through the course of the Bible together.
And the hope is that if there is a question, like let's say from the last when we were in chapter 4 or of a discussion from chapter 4, that we can come on here and discuss it in the new lives to kind of bring people backwards and then come back to the forefront. So if anybody has a question from the last live or the live, I think last live was the first time. Anyone has a question from the last live or this live going to the next session, I definitely would say drop your question in on the comments or whatever, so we can always like get to it, discuss it, or even if there's something that you took from it that we didn't even touch on because you're given a different mindset and God might be revealing something totally different to you that you could bring to the forefront that'd be like, oh, that was a good point, God. I didn't see that. Right. Definitely, it's we want it to be interactive amongst each other. So that was my tidbit on it. Anything from you? Live from the side, Nikki?
Awesome. I just think you need to break it down. I'm a little confused.
Okay. We have a comment. She said she think we need to break it down because she's a little confused. Mm-hmm. Wow. You mean the chapter or in terms of everything?
There was a lot of names. This Speakahu, that Pagahu. And then y'all was like something of Enoch and then he this and then I just got lost after that.
All right. Well, we're going to find her.
Right. So we're going to take some time to find her as we end this live. But we just really want to thank you guys for tuning in. We want to thank you guys for listening. This is AGAPE Ministries out of Mount Vernon Heights Congregational Church, where our senior pastor. You know what? We're gonna come up with a jingle just because she's just crazy. We're gonna come up with a jingle. So where our senior pastor is the Pastor Troy Preston DeCohen, and join us on Sundays at 11
a.m.
later.
Yes, and the next live will be 2 weeks from February the 1st.
February 1st.
February 1st is our very next live, and I think that live will probably do 2 chapters. So if you have any questions, comments, or you want to bring something to the table that we're going to discuss,
listen, you could even comment in the thing and we can bring you on camera so you can break down some stuff. Maybe you might think we missing something.
Okay, and don't be afraid to be on camera because we go on camera.
Listen. Sirs, put on a hat. Women, if you feel like it, beat your face. But listen, the way God made
I'm not beating my face. It's going to be regular.
I don't know. The next live, I might beat my face.
I ain't beating nothing. I'm going to be regular.
Nikki said we need our face beat when we on live.
I'm going to be like this every single live. Bags and all.
Well, I'm going to have... later, guys.